to take on the world. Invisalign is nearly invisible, comfortable to wear, and comparable in price to metal. I'm Natalie MacNeil, creator of SheTakesOnTheWorld.com and a proud spokesperson for Invisalign. As a teenager, I needed braces to straighten my teeth, but I didn't think I would need braces again as an adult. When my teeth started to shift a few years ago, I have to admit I was a little self-conscious about my smile with all the videos and press I was doing. Invisalign was the only option for me. My smile has become one of the signatures of my personal brand and gives me the confidence I need to take on the world. Invisalign is nearly invisible, comfortable to wear, and comparable in price to metal braces. You can learn more at Invisalign.com. Hello and welcome back to the Conquer Summit. I'm your host, Natalie MacNeil, and joining me for today's session is Tara Gentile. She is the author of The Art of Earning Beautifully, the founder of Kickstart Labs, and contrary to popular belief, Tara believes that making money should be a beautiful and easy thing, which I love. So Tara, hello and welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
So talk to me about this whole making money should be easy thing, because a lot of people think if it's not hard, then, they're not doing enough or not working hard enough.
Absolutely. That hard work thing is such a myth. So I was just speaking on this topic at a conference in Scotland, of all places, to a whole bunch of creative entrepreneurs there. And I made the point that, making money is really all about changing people's lives. Because doing business, selling things, creating products, designing services, or, physical goods, it's all about solving people's problems. It's all about helping them fulfill their desires. And at the essence of that is making a change for people. It's making a positive impact in people's lives. And on the reverse of that, making money, the transaction part, that's what we receive for the good that we do for other people, for the change we help them to create in their lives. And so making money, as easy as it might be to create your product, to offer your service, to do that thing that you love, the making money part of that is that's just what you receive for the wonderful work that you do in other people's lives. And so there's no reason to, have all of these psychological barriers that we have for making money. There's no reason to assign all this weight to the process of making money. It really can and should be as easy as doing the work that you do and allowing yourself to receive for it.
Yeah, and there are a lot of people who have businesses built around doing great work, but then why are so many entrepreneurs broke, do you think?
It's because they don't create great systems for receiving. And I think that's a really excellent question. Yeah. I think we absolutely need to work on creating systems for receiving, because we put so much more weight on actually doing our work, on actually helping people, and we make making money secondary. And while it's great that you want to be a do-gooder, and it's great that you want to put the emphasis on delivering for your people, if you're not also working systems in for receiving, for making money, you're making it much harder on yourself than it has to be. So one thing I've always done in my own business is make sure that, for whatever it is that I love doing, for whatever it is that my people really want from me, that I have a system for receiving for that. And that means that there's a page on my website that outlines a service that pertains to that need, or that there's a book that people can read to get help on that idea, or there's a course that they can take. So, if you're finding yourself doing the same kind of good work for people over and over and over again, have you created a system that allows you to receive for that? Is there an offer in place? Is there a client intake process? Is there a dollar amount associated with that work. And most often, that's what I see not happening. And so not only are entrepreneurs broke, but they spend way too much time answering their email and way too much time stressing out about how they're going to make their next dollar.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you made that point, because I see so many entrepreneurs who maybe they do have a website up, but they'll talk about their services. And then instead of having a button to actually click to learn more, to set up a consultation, to be directed to an assistant, some sort of process there, they say, contact me if you would like more information. And then you put all that burden on the customer to actually get in touch with you. And that's just not a good system. So I totally agree with you that people don't have the system set up for receiving.
Yeah, you're absolutely creating a roadblock to actually making money if that's the way you have things set up. And also, just one little tip, my mama told me that if I have to ask, it's too expensive. So making the process, making the system as simple and straightforward and information heavy as possible means that, more people are likely to actually buy instead of think, oh, this isn't for me, or oh, this is too expensive.
Yeah, such a good point to make. Now, you talk a lot about the micro business earning plateau. What is that, and how can people avoid hitting that plateau?
Yeah, I'm so glad you asked about this. So the micro business earning plateau is that place that we reach in business when that early success period starts to wear thin. So a lot of times what I see happen, or most often what I see happen, is that entrepreneurs get started in business and they get a lot of early wins. And those early wins might just be, the neighbor down the street deciding that they want to work with you, or going to a craft fair and selling even 2 or 3 pieces of your product. Those early wins come fast, they come furious, they feel pretty easy. You get really excited about what you're doing. And the moment you kind of work harder toward it, the moment you kind of leap into more unknown territory, things start to stall out. And it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's not because you don't have a great product. It's not because you're not great at what you do. But the reason that you hit that plateau is because you can't hustle your way to success. You can't just push harder and harder and harder to get through that next barrier. You have to have the right business model in place. And that means figuring out not only a single system for receiving, but really multiple systems for receiving, how you're going to price things properly, how you're going to follow one offer with another, and how all of those offers are going to work together to create a business model that actually sustains itself instead of relying on your energy, your hustle to sustain it.
Yeah, and you work with a lot of new economy entrepreneurs and you help them figure out the best business model. And for the people who haven't quite figured out that business model yet, or maybe their business model really isn't working right now, what would you say is usually the missing piece that would help somebody go from being a starving creative to someone who's thriving in their business?
Yeah, for my money, it's really all about focusing on the customer's perspective. So what I see with new economy business owners is that they're absolutely incredibly excited about what they're doing. They're excited about what they're creating, and it forces them into what I call the expert's perspective. And the expert's perspective is really important, but when it comes to building a really appropriate, sustainable business model, and when it comes to building really compelling marketing and sales processes, it's not what really gets the job done. Instead, I ask all of my clients to think about their customer's perspective. What is their customer up late at night Googling? What are they really trying to accomplish in their day-to-day lives? What is it that they're talking to their friends, their spouse, their parents about? And how can you fit your business into that conversation? The moment you flip things around from the expert's perspective to the customer perspective, you get a whole new way of looking at what it is that you offer and how you can have really meaningful conversations with people about it. And, if we've learned anything about marketing in the social era, it's that marketing or markets are conversations. And so shifting that conversation means you can build better receiving systems, you can build better offers that sell themselves, and you can create more compelling copy that just makes your life a whole heck of a lot easier.
Absolutely. And I think this ties into a recent article that I read from you where you talk about how people need to stop trying to sell their product and start selling their end result. So do you think that that's your selling secret and the reason why you've built this very successful business?
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's the secret to my clients' success as well. And so what I mean by that is essentially that every product is a tool. Every product, every service you sell is a tool that your customer is trying to use or is attempting to use to get a particular job done, to achieve a particular result, to attain a particular outcome. And if you can, instead of focusing on your product, focus on those jobs, those achievements, those outcomes, those results, then you have essentially a much better way to talk about what it is that you offer than just the kind of the materials or the features of this product that you're selling. And when you focus on those outcomes, you're essentially putting your product in your customer's own language. And that goes back to that perspective taking thing. When your product or what you're offering is in your customer's own language, it's much easier for them to identify, yep, that's the thing I've been looking for. That's the thing I need. That makes your job as a salesperson or as a marketer much, much easier.
Yeah, and how do you pull out being able to put it into language that your customer understands? Can you give us some more tips for that? Because I do think that's another really big mistake that people make. And one of my friends, Ashley Amberger, who you probably know as well from Middle Finger Project, she always says that people will email her, what their pain points are, or you really help me with this. And she just saves all of those and then takes that, turns it into copy, and then gives it back to the customer. So she says, she's a great copywriter, but her copy comes from really listening to her clients, which I think is fantastic and something more people can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I do the exact same thing that Ashley does. And that's how you get all those emails or those comments that say, hey, how did you read my mind? How did you know that this was exactly what I needed? It's because you told me.
Yeah.
But so the best way to do this is exactly what you said, more listening. And, if social media has given us anything, I think we think that social media has given us the opportunity to broadcast to way more people than we've had access to in the past. But really what social media has allowed us to do is listen to way more people than we've been able to do in the past. So my absolute best tip for this is to come up with a list of people you'd actually like to sell to or actually like to create for. Maybe you don't even have the product yet, but you know who you think you'd like to work with. Come up with a list of those people, a hit list sort of. And you can create lists in just about every social media platform that exists. So Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram. Create those different lists or that single list of customers that you'd really like to create for, and make a special point every day to listen in on what they're saying. Especially look for things that aren't just geared toward, your industry or your market, your field, but look to, how they're expressing their pain points or their desires to their family, their friends. Look at how they're talking maybe with their spouse or their girlfriend or their boyfriend, and see what it is, the real things that they're saying, not just what they're saying to you, not when they're just telling you what they think you want to hear, but what's actually going on in their mind. And social media is just the absolute best place for that. So more listening, less broadcasting.
Tara, what would you say is the most unexpected lesson that you've learned from working with people who are working in the new economy and hustling and trying to share their gifts with the world? I know you've been all over the world sharing this message. So what's something unexpected that you've learned or discovered through all of that?
Wow, that's a big question. I think what is probably most unexpected is that people don't see just how valuable the work that they do is for other people.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't paused enough to kind of take in what other people are telling them about the work that they do. And because they haven't made that pause, because they haven't taken it all in and really processed it, they have this block toward marketing or toward sales and even toward product development, where they're missing opportunities. They're missing a chance to have a much more compelling message. And instead, when they pause, when they do kind of listen in on what's being said to them about the work that they do, they can make a big jump. And so I wish that more people would take that pause, would listen a little bit more closely, and really think about what it is that people are saying to them about the value they're creating in the world.
Such a great point to make. Tara, this has been such a great conversation, and I know that before we go, you have an actionable to share with our viewers so that they can take action on the conversation and these insights that you've been sharing with us today. So can you tell viewers what that actionable is and give them a little bit of homework to do walking away from this interview?
Yeah, absolutely. Since we've been talking about listening and perspective taking and all these different things, let me share with you my number one go-to exercise, because it is super simple, which is not to say that it is easy. And it's the
Awesome.
perspective map. All you need to do is take a sheet of paper and divide it into four quadrants, and name those four quadrants these four things: say, do, think, and feel.
Say, do, think, feel.
Yeah, say, do, think, and feel. What I want you to do is think about one of the products or services that you have in mind, or maybe even just a client that you really, really want to work with. And think about the things that they are saying to their friends and family, the things that they're doing, the behaviors they're engaged in on a daily basis around that product or that pain point. Think about the think section as, what's really going on in their head. So often what we say doesn't match what's going on in our brains. And then think about the feel section. What emotions are they going through around this pain point? Or what emotions do they associate with the desire that they have? And if you can list out things in all four of those quadrants, I guarantee you that there is a better, more compelling, more effective, more productive marketing message in amongst all of that data. And not only that, there's probably a product development opportunity there for you as well. So that's the perspective map, and that is my number one actionable for anyone wanting to take a more customer-centric, customer-obsessed view of their business.
Tara, that's a great exercise. Thank you so much for sharing that and for sharing your insights with us today. And thank you at home for watching this session of the Conquer Summit, and I will see you in the next one.